Hello, and today I'm going to be talking about the subject of location sharing. The idea of with a phone or tablet, the idea of, it tracking your location and what can therefore be done with that information. So, principally, the first question then, how generally trackable would a mobile phone be? Well, the location option, of course, does actually use specifically GPS location and therefore can produce a fairly accurate position of where your phone is. Not down to the last centimetre, and if you're in motion, it tends to be a bit more accurate in terms of plotting that and where it's facing. Of course, this information is generally not intended to be accessible to anyone who has no need to find it out. It's not generally supposed to be something you publicly reveal. I mean, so what's therefore useful is if you want someone to actually be able to know where you are, such as if you're going out somewhere and they want to be able to know when they can expect you, or if it's just a situation where you have reason to be concerned. If it's a parent wanting to keep track of their child, or just someone keeping track of a friend who's going to be going out, right? Because it's not always viable to always have someone with you, but of course with a phone you can make sure that someone does know where you are in case anything happens. So there's a lot of options. One of the main ones I've known is Glympse, which is a program that you can get on generally on general app stores. It's spelt slightly differently from the actual word glimpse, but Glympse, and that's useful because it lets you send to someone. Well, it also just works with general navigation. It can send the route you intend to take, and then sends where you actually are. And it's usable if they've got the app themselves, they can watch it on that, or you can send a link that you can view in browser. Usually that would be sent through a messaging program like Skype. That's quite useful in terms of if you want to know, when you can expect to see someone. Or of course you'd see if they went somewhere that you expect them to, then you can that information might be useful. There was in the news a couple of years ago, actually now, a situation where the idea of automated device tracking didn't go so well. The fitness tracker with the app Strava, which, it kept track of where you went and all the various locations you were going, which And this information generally wasn't supposed to be generally available to anyone in terms of being able to track someone. But what they did was release a composite map of all the data they had. Now, that's in theory, the theory was that it was going to be okay because you didn't have any identifying information. You couldn't go, well, this is the particular route of someone in particular, someone who's like, you couldn't really use that to stalk someone. So the problem ended up being that the app was being used by soldiers deployed in bases in locations where the general population of those countries didn't use those sort of apps a lot. So you had very intense, specific areas where people had been going mapped out, and then it quickly became apparent those were in fact military bases that had been mapped out very precisely. So basically they sort of like on a thing on TV where you see someone preparing to infiltrate some base and intelligence has brought up a complete map of the location. It's like, how did they even have the information to begin with? And it's like, oh, that's actually happened in real life. Okay. Yeah, that was not good for the reputation. But more practically is, with regards to an app like Glympse, it's very specific in you have to decide who is receiving this information. If you have to choose who you're sharing it with, and you also choose how long. Maximum of 4 hours. After that, it will stop sending. So there's no risk of you accidentally leaving it on, and that's going to drain your battery also, because it's not something you'd use all the time, just if for some reason you particularly wanted to make sure someone could keep watch. I mean, there was one particular incident where I've definitely had to make use of Glympse. I mean, usually it's useful to let someone know how close you are to visiting and stuff, so they don't get worried. But a couple of years ago in March, when it was quite frozen, and as in lots of snow. So the first time, so there's 2 periods of snow in March, and on the first one it was like, okay, that didn't last too long. Like, when it started to snow again, it was like, okay, most people just kind of went to the shops and, let me make sure we've got things for a couple of days in case we can't go anywhere. And then it snowed quite heavily, and of course didn't really want to go driving anywhere because a lot of the roads weren't really safe for it. And the plan to stay inside it ran into a slight problem. Basically we had an emergency contact with a friend who had run out of cat food and needed some very quickly. So that was particularly the time when it was quite useful to have Glympse, because it was, everything was all cold and snow outside, and it was, and while some of the bigger roads were gritted and safe to drive on, getting to those roads in particular and getting back off at the other side of where I was going, honestly, we just decided it'd be safer if I walked it. Of course, then I had the Glympse app on, so my friends on either side were able to watch and see where I was going, so that way they didn't have to worry about me anyway. And well, admittedly, I wore enough clothes, but what was also useful about that was because people who were specifically able to sit at home and watch on a map could, well, watch on a map. There was one point later on where I took a slightly wrong turn because I was looking at my surroundings and trying to compare to the map, which didn't quite give as much overview as looking at it on a screen when you're not having to try and go over there. So then my friend identifies that, yeah, I've slightly taken a very slightly wrong turn and gave me a call to give me actual directions. Sort of like on various TV and such, where you end up seeing people like the mission control sometimes seems to know information that you're not sure how they know. Like no one's relayed this information to them. How are they watching? Well, maybe they've got something like that. So yeah. So that's pretty much what I want to discuss. It's a very yes. I mean, there's actually a lot of apps like Glympse for various different platforms. I mean, Glympse is a well-known one, and it works on most phones, so it's generally an easy one to go for. It's designed to be safe in that it won't give the information out somewhere where it shouldn't. That can be quite a problem in apps that don't actually look after data properly. And usually of course, you use a specific app for it because generally that sort of information is usually kept. I mean, there is nothing on most phones do nowadays. You can have the option to actually just send through text your location, which is again another useful way of getting somewhere. If you're lost and someone else and trying to meet someone who knows the area better than you do, that's useful as well. Yes, when used properly, it's a pretty useful thing to have on a phone. Okay. That covers what I wanted to talk about. Okay. If you've got any questions, then leave them in the comments. Okay. And that's all for tonight. Bye.